The show you're about to see is performed by highly trained professional athletes. The moves and actions that take place are incredibly dangerous when not performed by skilled professionals. Please do not attempt to try and do any of what you see in this program at home.
Months of controversy, the fate of NGW's Tag Team Championships is about to be decided as Styx and Joe Hendry compete in one of the most unique matches we've ever had on British Wrestling Weekly. Plus in our main event, at the request of Mark the Beast Lebet, ZACK GIBSON returns to take on Rampage Brown in a grudge match. Dave Bradshaw here, alongside former British Heavyweight Champion Alex Shane. And Alex, we await the arrival of 1/3 of the Tag Team Champions, Joe Hendry.
Well, you call it one of the most unique matches we've ever had on this programme, and in a moment we'll elaborate why, but suffice to say, Mark Lebet's solution may just solve our tag team problem.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming to the ring at this time, from Edinburgh, Scotland, weighing in tonight at 229 pounds, he is recognised as a holder of the NGW Tag Team Championship. This is Joe Hendry, local hero!
Well, Hendry in physical possession of one of our two Tag Team Championship belts. Styx has the other one, and that's why we are where we are right now. Earlier today, our cameras caught up with Joe Hendry, who was extremely unhappy at Mark Lebet's decision. Take a look at this.
Well, Mark Lebet, you might think that you are this king of television with your general knowledge. Well, let me just bestow some general knowledge upon you. You are putting me in a situation where I'm going to need to scratch and claw and do whatever it takes to beat Styx. And if you put me in a situation, if you back me into a corner where I have to hurt him permanently, then that's exactly what I will do, because make no mistake about it, Joe Hendry will use all the tools of the trade to get the win against Styx and reclaim what is rightfully mine.
And ladies and gentlemen, his opponent!
Well, Hendry can complain all he wants, Alex, but he is going to have to compete in this match, and if he loses, he will no longer have those tag titles.
Well, the reason he's complaining, Dave, is because in this contest, Mark Lebet has decided that the NGW Tag Team Championships, the one in possession of Joe Hendry and the one taken by the heavyweight house of Pain Styx, will be hung above the entranceway. Both wrestlers will have the opportunity to fight their way to get those belts, and the one who pulls both of them down and has possession of them at the end of the contest will be declared their rightful owner.
Hailing from Nottingham, ladies and gentlemen, winning tonight at 232 pounds, he is the heavyweight house of Pain, Styx!
Well, Styx in possession of that other tag team title belt, Alex, and as far as he's concerned, he and Colossus are the rightful owners of both those tag titles, because when Hendry and his mates won those titles, there were 3 of them, which is not really legal.
Well, it is controversial because obviously Styx and Colossus Kennedy, the biggest tag team in the United Kingdom today, offered the open challenge. It was a successful strategy for quite some time, but what they didn't count on was 3 members of Insane Fight Club. In many people's opinions, if you live by the open challenge sword, then your tag team title reign must be prepared to die by it. But obviously Styx and Colossus Kennedy weren't happy, took one of those belts back, and that is where we are right now.
Well, Hendry and the other members of the Insane Fight Club have been making ridiculous demands of NGW management ever since they've been the champions, before they would agree to even come back and make any title defenses. So from the perspective of NGW's fans, I'm sure many of them would quite like Styx and Colossus to regain those championships here.
Well, it's no doubt that Styx and Colossus Kennedy are two of the most popular men in new generation wrestling today. What I find most interesting, Dave, is this is one of the first times that we've seen the creativity of Mark Lebet come into play, where he has essentially invented a new form of match to solve a problem. Many speculated what was Mark Lebet's involvement in NGW going to be, and what difference would it make? Well, we're seeing it right here in our opening contest, and also, Dave, our huge grudge match main event. Lebet has negotiated with both Rampage Brown and ZACK GIBSON, and we're going to see it before the end of this program. What a huge hour of British Wrestling Weekly.
Yeah, Mark Lebet increasingly making his presence felt as our executive producer here on British Wrestling Weekly. Both of our matches here this week are largely thanks to him, as you say. In the case of this one, well, you've heard the phrase, possession is 9/10 of the law. We're following that very much to a T here, because whoever physically grabs those tag title belts will be declared on behalf of their team as the rightful tag team champion.
And Joe Hendry was attempting to grab those belts before the belt had even run. It's a smart strategy, I just don't know if it's legal. Referee Adam J there. I mean, you need two referees to get these two belts. Got Steve Linsky there on the outside, and this will be interesting to see how this one goes down, because don't forget, when professional wrestlers leave the safety of the squared circle, they are entering no man's land. There is wood, there is concrete, there is metal on the stage, the steps, the floor. So both of these two professional wrestlers will subject their body to a very different kind of pain in their chase and their hunt for possession of these championship belts.
Hendry with a bit of gamesmanship there, temporarily stealing those both the belts to raise them above his head, and if we see a repeat of that image, whenever this match reaches its conclusion, then we will presumably have a continuation of this impossible situation where Insane Fight Club are able to dictate terms to NGW management, in this case Mark the Beast Lebet, before they come and make any more title defences.
Those belts being hung up high now, and it should also be pointed out that another stipulation that Mark Lebet had inside in this match is that both Colossus Kennedy and the other two members, Kid Fight and Lionheart of Team Insane Fight Club, have been banned from this building. So there's going to be no outside interference, nobody running and grabbing those belts. It's going to be settled by Hendry and Styx, and Hendry and Styx only.
So a very unique state of affairs here, essentially a one-on-one match with a unusual stipulation, as Hendry was going to make a dive for the belts early. Kind of a singles match with a twist to decide the fate of the tag team titles.
Oh, look at that. Styx had the opportunity to go for those belts, but you can tell just how personal this one has become. Don't forget, Dave, that it was Hendry that used one of those belts illegally, hitting Styx in the head with it, and it was Hendry that pinned Styx for those tag team titles to change hands. Styx has something to prove, and this is his opportunity to prove it.
Styx with that shoulder block takes down Hendry, and now he's gesturing to the crowd that he's going to make an early attempt to go for those belts, but Hendry grabbing him by the ankle. Such a dangerous situation here in terms of the title belts for both of these guys. Your opponent just slips out of the ring when you're not looking. That could be the end of your hold on part of the tag team titles. Hendry forced back into the ring by the heavyweight House of Pain.
And what an image to see those belts hung in the entranceway, and you are left in no doubt exactly what this one is for. It's for those championships. The most important televised tag team titles in British wrestling of the new generation, and both of these men want to leave with those belts.
Hendry is looking a little bit frustrated at his inability to make any kind of dent, any kind of inroad into this match against Styx without his buddies here.
Both men trading big European uppercuts. And you have to believe that if you're going to match power with Styx, that is not going to end well. One of the strongest men in British professional wrestling today.
Well, the difference in those chops, Styx with the chop across the chest doing real damage to Hendry. The same cannot be said the other way around. Yeah, Hendry backing off.
Or was he? Because what Hendry did there, Dave, was suck it in Styx. And as soon as Styx thought that Hendry was down, Hendry went straight for those eyes.
Hendry vertical suplex on Styx. And again, his glance moves towards those tag titles on the entranceway. But he knows at this point Styx is not sufficiently incapacitated to give him time to get out there. Styx sent to the ropes by Hendry. Back elbow. Takes the big man down. And Alex, what happens if Hendry does win this? Are we going to continue with this situation of 3 men holding 2 tag title belts?
Well, I think that's another battle for another day for Mark Lebet. He came into NGW to make a change, and unfortunately for him, the tag team title landscape was one of the most confusing that we'd ever had in the history of New Generation Wrestling. But I'm certain that after this contest, that would be one of the very next things that he addresses, because you just can't have 3 men defending 2 belts.
It may be academic. If Styx wins here, then the reign of terror that Insane Flycom have had here in the tag title division will be over. As Styx hits a vertical suplex, we've got to go to a break. We'll be right back.
The show you're about to see is performed by highly trained professional athletes. The moves and actions that take place are incredibly dangerous when not performed by skilled professionals. Please do not attempt to try and do any of what you see in this program at home.
The future of the tag team titles hangs in the balance here on British Wrestling Weekly, and throughout the break, Joe Hendry has been wearing down Styx.
Well, with that sleeper hold, Dave, he has cut off the flow of blood to the brain of Styx, and Styx now is in a very vulnerable situation. If Hendry can turn around and climb those steps and get those belts, this one's all over.
Styx looks like he is barely conscious. Hendry, though, is getting a little bit cocky here. If he was smart, Hendry would go for the belts now, but he's taking time to taunt the crowd.
In many people's opinions, including my own, the one Achilles heel of Joe Hendry is his overconfidence. But I tell you what, if he can get those belts right now, what a way to win. I mean, it's not just beating Styx, it's demolishing him.
Yeah, well, Styx is coming after him, and Styx with a clothesline. Takes down the local hero. And now Styx maybe has an opportunity. Or does he? No, he's going to deliver some more punishment or attempt to on Hendry. Styx must still be groggy after all that time in that sleeper hold. Hendry follows him. Styx was headed towards those title belts. Hendry cut him off as fast as he could.
Oh, look at that! Almost a 619 by Styx, sliding inside, back out again and kicking Joe Hendry straight in the midsection. We took calling the heavyweight House of Pain, but you can't ever forget just how agile he is for a big man.
Styx rolling Hendry back in. He's going to go to the top here. Is Styx on the top turnbuckle. Styx with a shoulder block. Hendry is in trouble.
And now Styx is on fire. And it's at this moment that he can end this controversy and get those belts back.
Big body slam. The ring shook as he slammed Hendry into the canvas. And now those repeated elbows.
Wow.
The pectoral muscles of Hendry. Clothesline. Styx getting out all of that frustration that he and Colossus have felt, having been robbed of those tag team title belts for the past few months.
But wherever Colossus Kennedy is, you've got to believe that he's watching the monitor somewhere and cheering on his tag team partner of the heavyweight House of Pain.
Hendry reverses the Irish whip. Goes behind on Styx. Maybe landed hard on his knee, but hits a power slam.
And I mentioned the Achilles heel of Joe Hendry. Well, the Achilles heel of Styx is that knee. Anyone who's familiar with the UK wrestling scene knows that Styx has had increasing problems with that knee. It's one of the consequences of being a true heavyweight. It's much easier to strengthen your muscles than it is the strength and density of your bones.
So many battles, so many wars that Styx has been in. A true veteran of British wrestling.
15 years, Dave.
And Styx is now edging ever closer to those tag titles, but Hendry again blocking his path. Or is he?
Oh, Oh, goes straight for the leg. Smart move there by Hendry.
Hendry has seen that Styx is having trouble with that left knee, and he's doing all he can here to pull Styx away. Hendry knocked silly by that forearm, but Styx's knee's given way. The knee has given way.
The sweat of these two men, combined with those wooden steps, has led to disastrous consequences for the heavyweight house of pain. And that knee, Dave, this has not looked good.
Well, the good news for Styx is that Hendry is exhausted as well, but it is Hendry who is looking like he's going to be the first to his feet. And with both men so close to those belts, that could be decisive.
Oh, this looks uncomfortable. Styx has barely moved. You can even see by the way he's coming back to his feet, he's struggling there, just to stand.
Hendry's going to try and force Styx's face into the ring apron. Styx reversed that. But yeah, he's having trouble walking, real trouble. Hendry rolled back into the ring. And Styx, I think, is going to kick his head down. I think he realised he wasn't going to be able to get there in his current state. Oh, Hendry's going to go for that fall-away slam. The freak of nature, but
oh, he landed on his feet, but how much damage was done to Styx? Look at the strength of the heavyweight house of pain, literally on one leg, Dave. Oh.
Yeah, the leg gave way again. He couldn't support the body weight of Hendry there. And this is a real problem for Styx.
Styx is trying to prevent himself as best he can from... Yeah, he didn't even want to... Did you see that there? He used those ropes to stop himself even landing on the outside of the ring. He's really trying to protect that knee as best he can. And Hendry knows it. He's like a shark that smells blood.
Yeah, oh God. You might not approve of that, but that was smart by Hendry, because what he did there, forcing the referee into the ropes, and you see the result. He's twisted Styx's knee around the bottom of the middle rope.
And look at the torsion on that kneecap of Styx. Oh, God.
Yeah, Hendry can see that Styx is caught, and Hendry knows that he's going to win it here, I think, because Styx is nowhere close. Hendry has both the tag title belts. Oh no, no. Insane Fight Club are going to remain the tag team champions of NGW.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of this match and recognized as holder of the NGW Tag Team Championship, the local hero, Joe Hendry.
I can't believe it, Dave. Earlier we discussed the overconfidence, the cockiness of Joe Hendry taking his time. He tried it earlier in the match and it didn't work. But how satisfying must it be for him to know that he casually walked up that stage and grabbed those belts in such a manner? I mean, it's just...
Yeah, it's only overconfidence if it backfires, and it did not backfire for Hendry. He rode his luck because Styx's knee injury really prevented the heavyweight house of pain from putting up the fight he might otherwise have done. But the bottom line here, Alex, is this. Joe Hendry and the Insane Fight Club are now, without any dispute whatsoever, the tag team champions.
And the real question here for Styx is the rumours of that knee being injured. From where I'm sitting, it looks like those rumours may have a lot more validity than many of us first thought, because Styx cannot be happy with that performance. And as a result, he and Colossus Kennedy have just lost complete ownership and possession of those championship titles.
Hendry, victorious, both championship belts in his possession on this week's British Wrestling Weekly, and Styx not only in physical pain but the emotional pain of his quest for those tag team titles ending in this way.
And our huge main event is still to come as the dejected Styx looks on. Rampage Brown taking on ZACK GIBSON. Mark Levette has made it happen. Hold on.
Well, hang on now. RJ Singh is out here. Now, why is Singh out here?
Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it one more time for Styx.
Stevie Aaron has it up. Stevie Aaron's just realised who's behind him. It's not just RJ Singh, it's that entourage that we saw just a few weeks ago. And this, I have no idea why RJ Singh. I do know one reason. RJ Singh and Styx trained at wrestling school 15 years ago. They've been friends, they've known each other for a long time, but that friendship has somewhat gone its separate ways.
How you doing, old friend? You know, Sticks, you and me, we go way back. We go way back 15 years. You and I, we've known each other ever since we first started in wrestling. When you and I first trained together all the way down in London, we drove all over this country together. We wrestled against each other, we wrestled alongside each other. And to see you now, man, I couldn't be prouder of the things you've done.
Why is he here, Dave? This is bizarre.
But one thing, just the one thing that really bugs me, man, is like the way wrestling has treated you. It's just appalling. You are one of the greatest assets in British, no, not in British, in all of wrestling. You are one of the greatest guys never to be signed to a company and earn that big money.
Well, it's a valid point, Dave, but where is this going?
Come on, man, you can't deny. You can see the way things are changing at the moment. You can see how things are turning around. And let's be honest, man, you don't even need to worry about him, man. They're just here for the TV time. These guys respect you. These guys look up to you. But Sticks, they also see where you've gone wrong. I mean, let's be honest, man. How long have you got left? 3 years? 2 years with that knee of yours? Let me help you. As your friend, let me help you. If you come alongside me, if you join and be part of what I'm doing, be part of what we're doing, you could ride out the next 2 years making the big money. You could earn enough to retire from wrestling comfortably, look after your family, have everything you wanted.
What a parasite.
And all you gotta do, man, is shake my hand and stand by my side.
Well, what's Stick's decision going to be? We've got to go to a break. We'll find out when we come back.
The show you're about to see is performed by highly trained professional athletes. The moves and actions that take place are incredibly dangerous when not performed by skilled professionals. Please do not attempt to try and do any of what you see in this program at home.
Well, RJ Singh has offered Sticks a deal that he thinks Sticks can't refuse, but what's he going to say?
I can't believe Sticks is going to do... Oh, he's grabbed the mic, Dave.
Firstly, it's nice to see your effect on the crowd here in Hull, who obviously hate you straight away.
They have good reason to after what we've seen.
See, some things change and some things never change, RJ. Like you said, we've known each other 15 years. And yes, we are good friends. Some would say best friends. But the fact is, in those 15 years, the common denominator there is you've always spoke crap.
Wow.
Now, these men and women outside the ring, they might believe every word you say. You might have them hook, line and sinker. But hey, I wasn't born yesterday, RJ. I'm not going to fall for your talk. So as a friend, I respectfully decline your offer.
Well, Sticks saying no to RJ Singh's offer to get him a big money contract in the US.
This week, friends, and I'm not going to lie, I'm disappointed because we could have done great things together. But you know what, man? Hey, you and me are still good. We're still going to walk out of here, friends, tonight. And you know what, Sticks? I respect your decision. I respect your business decision. I will just leave it there, okay?
I wouldn't trust a word that comes out of that man's mouth.
Me neither. I feel extremely uncomfortable after what we've seen from Singh.
It's just, you know what they say, man? brothers, in business, there are no friends.
Oh God, well, Alex Gracie trying to attack Styx, and now the rest of them coming in. There's McCluskey, all of them just unloading on Styx. This is pathetic.
RJ Singh has known Styx for 15 years, and he is willing to incinerate that friendship to prove a point to the entire wrestling world that his business has no room for friends. This is just, horrible.
Utterly ruthless, utterly callous from RJ Singh to attack his best friend.
Oh, they're taking out who they see as one of the main competitors for those big money contracts.
You know, Styx, if I can't have your brand, no one can have your brand.
Oh no.
Hold on.
Hang on a second. Hang on, that's the Proven's music. The Proven's music hits, and here they are. Kaz Crash, Sam Wilder, going to unload on RJ Singh's assets.
What the Proven did? The Proven and Styx and Colossus Kennedy had wars, absolute wars in NGW, but they're here, Dave. What?
I never thought I would see the day that the Proven came to the aid of Styx. It's crazy, but what the Proven now turning their attention to Singh.
Oh, look at April Davids and Roxy there trying to fight the Proven. Those girls are fearless.
Singh is pulling off the troops here. Again, the question remains, why would the Proven coming to the aid of Styx?
This is a strange situation. Every time we've seen RJ Singh, it leaves me almost speechless as to what's going to happen next. And why have the Proven come out for Styx?
Crash and Wilder, the unlikely saviours here for Styx, who was being taken apart by 6-7 people at the behest of RJ Singh.
Well, Dave, it's almost time for a huge main event grudge match. Rampage Brown against ZACK GIBSON, Liverpool's #1. Mark Lebet has done the impossible and got ZACK GIBSON back. But on next week's show, we have a contest that we've been waiting for since the end of season 2. Matt Myers, Nathan Cruz, the rematch. Gen X champion v NGW Undisputed Heavyweight champion is coming up in just 7 days' time.
Yeah, that's right, Alex, and we're going to hear from Matt Myers in just a moment, but in the meantime, this standoff looks like it's coming to an end, but it's leaving us with more than a few questions here. For one thing, again, why did the Proven come to the aid of Styx? But even more pertinently, you've got to ask if RJ Singh will sacrifice a friendship of 15 years to advance his business interests. Is anyone safe in NGW when Singh and his assets are around?
RJ Singh coming to NGW has been good for nobody thus far, and sadly for Styx, nobody knows that more clearly than he does right now.
Well, Styx is going to shake hands with the Proven. But as promised, right now, let's hear from the man who's about to challenge for the NGW Undisputed Championship.
I think one of my biggest problems, and this isn't just in professional wrestling, this is in life, there's so many opportunities that I've just let pass me by because one thing about me is that I am so scared of failing. You know, I have this massive fear of failure. You know, so when I did fail against Nathan Cruz, again in front of my friends, in front of my family, that was it. It was crippling for me. And you know, there was a time when I thought, I don't think I'm going to be able to bounce back from this. There was a time when I thought I didn't really want to. But you know, sometimes in life the only way to succeed is by accepting failure and staring it in the face and moving on. And that's what I've done. And now, you know, I'm ready for a new experience. I'm ready to succeed. I'm ready to become the new generation wrestling undisputed champion.
huge match for the NGW Undisputed Championship next week. But speaking of huge matches, Alex, time for our main event. And here comes Liverpool's #1.
Zack Gibson is a man we have not seen on British Wrestling Weekly since that epic Team Warfare showdown at the end of last season. Let's not forget that we thought he joined the Control, but at the conclusion of that match, he left Richie West and essentially hit a ticket to ride on Rampage Brown, and that not only lost Rampage Brown the match, but ended the reign of the Control in NGW. We've not seen Zack Gibson back since. We know why. He wants a shot in that Davey Boy Smith Cup, and you have to believe that Mark LeBet has told him if he can beat Rampage Brown, then he has a much bigger opportunity to get in that prestigious tournament.
The collar and elbow tie-up. The intensity of the rivalry between Rampage Brown and Gibson certainly not abated at all during Gibson's absence. And you're right, Mark LeBet dangled that one carrot that he knew Gibson wanted above all else, the chance to compete in the second Davey Boy Smith Cup. Look at that slap.
Nobody is less intimidated by Rampage Brown than Zack Gibson, and that is saying something, because Rampage Brown is, in my opinion, the most intimidating professional wrestler in British wrestling today.
Rampage and Gibson continuing to exchange forearms here. Now, the other part of this, of course, is it's not the best decision ultimately who gets into that Davey Boy Smith Cup tournament. You've got to think that the Smith-Hart family over in Canada are going to be watching this one with an eye to who they would like to put in that tournament.
Well, I've spoken to people close to the situation, and the exact wording that LeBet gave was, listen, you don't have the opportunity to have a say in your future if you're not in NGW to say it for yourself. Don't talk to a camera, prove your worth and come back. He got Zack Gibson to come back for this match, but yeah, you're right, it is down to the Smith and Hart family who gets selected. Nobody wants to get in that tournament more than Gibson. He won the first one, and as we know, that was one of the prerequisites that the previous year's winner can't enter. I mean, in my opinion, Zack Gibson deserves a shot, but it's not down to me, it's not down to you or Mark LeBet. Look at this.
Speaking of shots, these two have been taking shot after shot at each other. This is just unreal, the degree to which there is still such personal animosity between Rampage Brown and Zack Gibson.
Well, Zack Gibson said this isn't going to be a wrestling match. The internet are not going to give it 5 stars, he said. This one is going to be a fight. He warned us last week at the end of the programme, and those words have become so prophetic in the early goings of this one.
Both men throwing the kitchen sink at each other in the early going. Gibson tried to go behind there, back elbow to the side of the head from Rampage. That's a clothesline and takes Rampage Brown down. Liverpool's #1 starting to get up ahead of steam here in this grudge match main event. Roll through, maybe go for the Shankly Gates. He's going to go for the Shankly Gates submission. Rampage hooking his fingers together and he counters. We've got a big boot. We've got to go to our last commercial break. This grudge match continues when we come back. Don't go anywhere. Main event in progress here on British Wrestling Weekly, a grudge match between Rampage Brown and Zack Gibson, and it is Brown who has taken the upper hand during the commercial break.
All through that commercial break, Dave, Rampage Brown has sought revenge against Zack Gibson for what happened at the end of Team Warfare, and he has decided to inflict that revenge by a relentless pounding on Liverpool's #1.
Brown with a chop across the chest, and the frenetic pace that this one's had from the get-go has been really remarkable. It's incredible to me that Iceman's got anything left in the tank.
And this one's called a grudge match because Mark LeBet has told referee Adam J that within reason you can let these guys go. But that has been said previously, and we have seen some dire consequences as a result. So Adam J has been told, expect these guys to fight, expect this one to be a rough and tumble affair, but also make sure that their safety is paramount. Nobody wants a lasting injury, and if any two guys can inflict it on the other, it's Gibson and Brown.
Gibson gets clothesline down from Brown. Yeah, I guarantee you neither of these men are thinking about safety, they're just thinking about ripping lumps out of each other here.
Who can forget some of the incredible matches we've seen on this very programme? Rampage Brown and Zack Gibson at the Liverpool Olympia. And then, of course, British Wrestling's Ultimate Showdown. It's how we kicked off Season 3. Rampage Brown, Zack Gibson, and the show stealer Nathan Cruz. One of the best matches that we've ever had, in my opinion, on this show. And now two of those men are in the squared circle for our main event this week.
Brown is trying to cut off the supply of oxygen to the brain here, trying to wear Gibson down. This is really the first time that this match has even slowed for an instant here.
And I mentioned Nathan Cruz in that British Wrestling's Ultimate Showdown match just a minute ago. Let's not forget, Dave, on next week's programme, it will be champion versus champion, the first time ever in New Generation Wrestling history. The Gen X Cup holder Matt Myers against his best friend and the NGW Undisputed Heavyweight Champion, the show stealer Nathan Cruz. It's a rematch we've waited 2 seasons for, and it's going to happen in just 7 days' time. And I, for one, Dave, can't wait.
Yeah, not just champion versus champion, but best friend versus best friend. An enormous, enormous showdown next week on this programme. But this one's pretty big as well, as Gibson is trying to fight his way back into this grudge match against Rampage Brown.
And I mentioned the referee letting it go. I have seen more close fists in this match than any I've probably seen in an NGW match, and referee Adam J is surprisingly allowing some of them to fly.
The referee is taking those instructions from Mark Lebet seriously and letting this one go as much as possible. Gibson trying to get some air back in the lungs here, get some fuel back in the body to try and put Rampage Brown away.
Look at the toll that it's taken. And here's a question, Dave. Do you think that potentially Zack Gibson is using rope-a-dope like Muhammad Ali did in Zaire at the Rumble in the Jungle? He is allowing Rampage Brown to burn himself out.
But it's entirely possible. You know, Gibson is absolutely not some kind of mindless brewer. He's a tactician, he's a thinker, and he knows what he's doing in there.
And it may just have worked. He has taken the best that Rampage had to offer and allowed Rampage to almost burn himself out by delivering offense. But here's the question, Dave. How risky is that strategy for your long-term health?
I'm not sure either of them are thinking about their long-term health at the moment.
Ticket to ride there.
Ticket to ride could do it. He's got that left leg hook to beat Rampage Brown, but Rampage gets the right shoulder up, and we will continue.
Remember, it was that move from the second rope that Gibson delivered to Brown at the end of Team Warfare that created all this controversy. If he can hit that again, I mean, it could be all over.
Gibson sensing that the end may be near for Rampage Brown. Go for the cover again. Again he hooks the leg, and again Rampage Brown gets out.
Twisting brainbuster. And we knew this one was going to be heavy. We knew this one was going to be hard for both men. Heavy hitters, heavy weights. Everything about these two men indicates that you're going to have a fight on your hands when they're in the squared circle. You put them in there against each other. Man.
Gibson, is he going to go for that Shankly Gate again? Again, Rampage knows him so well, instantly knows to link those hands together. Best way to block that attempt.
And what's also interesting is Gibson normally always spends the entire match working on the arm, but so far he's not had that luxury because he's been fighting for his survival.
They're exhausted, aren't they? Look at them, both of them. Throwing absolutely everything at each other here. What a main event in Holland City Hall.
Look at the toll that this match has had on both men. The slowdown in their delivery of those forearms. I mean, they're exhausted, Dave.
And exhaustion's not going to stop them. Both of these guys so desperately wanting to beat the other. Oh, such a primal dislike for each other.
Guillotine on the top rope there by Brown, and look at that belly to back suplex. And that is a good strategy. Cut off the flow of oxygen by dropping your opponent's throat on the top rope and hit with that belly to back him. Rampage Brown's telling, oh wow, he's telling referee Adam J to count him down.
He wants to win this by, I guess, a technical knockout, but Gibson's not done. Gibson is going to get up. In fact, he's up before Rampage here. And Rampage, again, another big impact. Gibson's head bouncing off the canvas there like a tennis ball.
Oh, the ref's counting again, and this is a smart strategy for Brown, because if he doesn't have to roll for a cover, he doesn't have to fight against Gibson. The count is longer, but all the emphasis is on Gibson to get to his feet. Brown recovery time, and that's exactly what he needs.
At this point in the match, it's all about preserving energy, big Samoan drop, and he'll go for it again. He'll go for a count-out win again here.
Oh, this is like a last man standing match, or dare I say a boxing match.
Brown once more will fight to his feet and hope that Gibson cannot follow suit. But Liverpool's number one is still moving, he's still conscious, and that means he's still fighting.
Look at the shock and awe on Rampage Brown's face. If there's one thing we know about Zack Gibson, is that he will not quit, and he refuses to give up.
Gibson is asking for more. Look at this.
Wow.
Is he insane?
Dave, it is rope-a-dope. He is challenging Brown to wear himself out.
But Brown doesn't seem to be worn out. And Gibson is getting absolutely taken apart here.
That Gibson is putting his life and his long-term health in his hands. In fact, no, he's putting it in the hands of Rampage Brown, which is a much scarier proposition. Look at this.
Pounding again and again and again on the back of the neck is Rampage Brown. Brown. Putting back into the corner.
Gibson covering up as best he can. Oh, he's sucking him in, Dave.
Gibson, he found a way out. Rampage eats the turnbuckle there.
And don't forget that under that patch is a steel hook that supports this ring.
Gibson came charging, Rampage blocked a double clothesline, both men down. What a battle.
This is unlike anything I've seen, Dave, in NGW. Gibson warned us, and the referee's at a count of 5, and
I've got up to 6 referees counting both men out. I'm not sure either of them got anything left. We're up to 8.
No way.
And neither of them made it. Neither of them made it. And this is going to be a draw. I think this is a draw.
Evie Aaron's asking for clarification.
Both men counted out.
Ladies and gentlemen, the referee's decision. Both men failed to beat the 10 count. Therefore, this is a double count out.
Wow. It's a draw, Dave. Well, I said it's unlike anything we've seen on this show. I've never seen a double knockout on British Wrestling Weekly.
And they still want to go. Look at the look in both of their eyes.
Oh, God.
They're still going. Gibson and Rampage, it's over.
And who are you going to get to stop these two if they've decided? Oh, Adam J's trying his best. If I was him, I'd get out. Oh, he's going for the pile driver.
Rampage over the pile driver. Gibson sent him to the outside. It's wild. Absolutely untamed between Gibson and Brown.
Oh, it's all about security, and I'll tell you what, Dave, they are braver men than I. To try and get between Gibson and Brown.
Looks like we finally got these two separated. But Alex, the question here is, given that neither man won this, what does Mark Lebet do in terms of his recommendations to the Hart-Smith family about the Davey Boy Smith Cup?
Well, you have to believe that Gibson thought that he was going to come back into NGW and beat Brown and instantly qualify in the hearts and minds, at least, of the Smith and Hart family for a shot in that cup. But to come back here and have our first ever double knockout and a draw, that's thrown that straight out the window. This is a... Oh, yeah, I have no idea what Mark Lebet's going to do about this.
Rampage, it looks like, is finally going to call it a day here, but my goodness, what a battle, what a war between Gibson and Brown, and really didn't reach any kind of conclusion. Nothing is settled by the fact that these two had a double knockout.
Well, from hated rivals to best friends, Dave, we spoke about it earlier on next week's programme. Matt Myers, Nathan Cruz coming up on this show. 10X champion against NGW Undisputed champion in just 7 days' time.
An enormous contest for the NGW Undisputed Championship. Next week, our main event here on British Wrestling Weekly. Don't miss it.